Alright, now that your side of your car is done, you want to focus entirely on the top. You absolutely have to do a top view. If we look at your top and it remains a rectangle, you haven't taken it far enough. Common things that people do is maybe make a slot in the top, or some people will cut arcs. So you should choose one of those two. Please make sure that when we look at it from the top that it is perfectly symmetrical. If there were an imaginary line down the middle of it, it should look exactly the same on both sides. So one of the things that happens is if I try to put a sketch on this top surface right now I'm trying to click and I cannot. And that will confuse a lot of people. The reason for that is that if you look at this surface, it has a slight curve to it. If it has a curve, a part of your car has a curve, you cannot place a sketch there. That does not mean you can't remove material from this area. You just have to select a different flat surface. So I'm actually going to select the surface that's the top of my power plant housing, and I still will be able to cut through this section of my car. So I'm going to click right in this surface here. You could also click on a flat surface on the bottom and cut up and through your car, or this surface. This curved surface, once again, will not work. So whichever one you use is fine. I'm going to click on this one. If you want to do an arc, that's probably the easiest to draw. It's slightly more challenging to make in the lab. Usually you click where you would like your arc to start and where you would like it to stop. Your third click gives you a choice for how large to make it. If that's what you want to do, you just do your cut through all, and you'll get a look at kind of what's happening here. This particular slot did a great job at cutting through the front axle, so I had less friction there. It did not get through the back axle, but you don't have to do that. I am somewhat concerned about this large flat spot. That would make my car much less aerodynamic. But all things to think about. You decide what's going to work best for you. I'm going to undo this real quick. If the slot is not for you, you may elect to do arcs. They're a little bit more challenging to draw in this software, but they're easier to cut when we're in the lab. You need to make sure that when you make this arc, you are not going to take this arc beyond your axle. That makes it illegal. However, just for demonstration purposes, I am going to make it go through this section here, and then it will make my car become illegal. I just want to show you what it looks like when you have an illegal car. So here's my next arc. I do look for indications that show me that I'm going to have a symmetrical drawing, and then I add dimensions. I'm just going to round this to 162. I'm going to make this one 162. I will likely have to add additional dimensions. This is why I tell you it's tougher to draw, because you have to add so many different dimensions in here to get the things the same. A slot is just a lot more forgiving to beginning designers. So I'll make this an even 28. Make this one exactly the same. This next one, I just want to see what it's going to be. 73.456. I need to make this one the exact same dimension. Oh, 465. Oops. And then finally, this endpoint down to this spot, I need this one to be 0. You're going to have to do a lot of guess and check if you're going to succeed on this stuff. Now I have two perfectly symmetrical ones, and I am going to attempt to click inside. Nope. Wants more information. I'm going to go to the line tool here and make this into a shape. Now I'm going to hit E for extrude. Now I can actually click in this slot or this arced area, and I can do a cut through all. And as soon as I hit my green check mark, cool, I've got my arcs in. They're symmetrical. The problem I mentioned earlier is you can see that where my axle is coincides with where my axle goes through. I can change the way that I look at this, and we know how to do shaded with hidden edges. So you can see there's my axle. The distance across here is no longer the 35 minimum. You cannot have an arc go through here. So what is the solution to that? Back in this area, when I was drawing this arc, it needs to start maybe at this spot, but it needs to come out up in this area before it goes through the axle. So watch for those things as you design. Otherwise, you certainly can do more. Sometimes people will start drilling holes up and into things, and that's certainly fine. In this case, because I'm not taking anything off the sides of my vehicle body, then I might actually want to get a hole drilled that goes through my axle. I am going to make sure this is centered. 21 millimeters is the center. This seems way too big here, so I'm going to try 30, see what that looks like. These are the only cuts that you can make, drilled holes, that do not go all the way through your vehicle. So I'm going to go 10 millimeters. That'll get me up into my axle. That will allow me to reduce friction on that rear axle, but not interfere with my power plant housing. In fact, it looks like I could go more than 10 millimeters. After you have finished things on the top, don't forget to do a save. You can click on the eye and hit save, or you can hit the little computer disk at the top of your screen. Either way should be good. Hope your design goes well. The next step is to convert this to a multi-view. That'll be demonstrated in the next tutorial. Thank you.